Hello to all my viewers. Good day. Today we'll be creating our mini project. So this project is for beginners. So you can try it out. So in this project, you're going to be creating a function that checks the validity of an account number. If the user enters an invalid bank name, it should be bank name, the program will give the user two attempts while printing the number of attempts left. Then if the bank name entered is valid, the program will proceed to ask for the user's account number and note that each account number will have 3 specific digits preceding it. And the account number entered by the user must correspond with the bank and must be 10 digits, else it will give the user 3 attempts to impute a valid account number, after which the program terminates. So what is program like? Here in Nigeria, we have banks, we have BBA, we have Zenith Bank, other banks like that. So if the user, you create a list of banks available in Nigeria. So if the user enters another bank that is not in any bank that is not in existence, that is not in the list, a bank that is not in the list of this program, then the program will give the user an attempt, 2 more attempts to impute a valid bank. If the user keeps imputing a wrong, an invalid bank name, the program will terminate after 2 attempts. Then, if the user imputes something correct, a bank name that is correct, the program will proceed to ask the user his or her account number. So what I mean here now, account number, for instance, UBA, Zenith, let's say that UBA, the account number must be preceded with 200. Zenith, the account number must be preceded with 201. So, and if the user wants to, assuming the user selects UBA, and now while entering the bank name, the user now enters while entering the account number, user now enters an account number that starts with 077 instead of 200, which is for UBA. The program, it will not recognize the account number. It will give the user 3 more attempts. Or even if the user enters an account number that starts with 200, but the digits is not up to 10, the program will still give the user an attempt, extra 2 or 3 more attempts to impute the correct account number. So let's give it a try. I kind of imagined this today and tried it, and it worked. So let me walk you guys. So let's start by creating a function. To create a function, use the def keyword. Let's name a function bank check. Can you name your function anything? I'm naming this bank check. So in our function, we'll have, first of all, the list of banks. So let's name our list banks. So to create a list, use a square bracket. So the name of each bank will be enclosed in a single or double quote. So I'll be using a single quote. Then let's say name of my bank. Let's say Ace. I have Ace as the name of my bank. Then I also have Apex. Then I also have the names of these banks I'm imputing are not real. I don't want to use real names of banks we have here. I just imagine this. You can impute as many banks as you wish. For this course, for this tutorial, I'll be using only 3 banks. Because if I'm to use more than this, my code will be very long. So if you can try it with this, you can as well try it with 100 banks. So it's less for you to choose. So the next thing to do is to, now I told you guys in my introductory part video that, in the introductory part that the user will be given 3 attempts. So first, number of attempts. Let's create this variable, number of attempts. So number of attempts. Then number of attempts, because I want to give the user 3 attempts. So number of attempts will be set to 3. Then attempts will be set to 0 because no attempt has been made yet. So now let's enter a while loop. While number of attempts is less than attempts. While number of attempts What number of attempts is greater than attempts? Because no, our number of attempts is 3. Then attempt is 0. So number of attempts should be greater than attempts, meaning that attempt should be less than number of attempts. So our number of attempts is greater than attempts. Then inside this loop, then you ask for the user's bank name. Let's create a variable. Let's name it bank name. Then inside this variable, use the input function to ask for the user's bank name. Say enter bank name. This will be displayed when we run the code. Say enter bank name. Then after this, then the number of attempts will be decremented, because when the person does his or her first input and makes mistake, the number of attempts will be reducing, to be decreasing. So for that, we'll be decreasing the number of attempts. So we'll be decrement by 1. Therefore, number of attempts minus equal to 1. Then, if banks, the person will make an input, enter bank name to get maybe the bank he or she is using. So if bank name not in banks, if bank name is not in the list of banks that is in the second line, so not in, use this code, not in banks, then print try again. Tell the user to try again. But this time around, I also include the number of times attempts left. You get, so here I'll tell the user try again. Then I formatted this string. This is formatting of string. So you can check it in my previous videos. I taught this in my previous videos. So I will now input number of attempts. Then attempts left. So this will print now. This print try again. If it's 3, instead of okay, now it's converted to the number that what I have in that curly brace. You get, because that is that number of attempts is an integer. So if it's 3, it will print try again, 3 attempts left. Do you understand? So then the next thing, then else, if the bank name not in banks, then else, assuming the user entered a valid bank name, else I will have to break out of this while loop. Break. Then the next thing to do is to close this while loop, because after the user has reached the limit, because once it reaches 0, attempts reaches 0, the program will terminate. So else print, we now print failed operation, or say operation failed with the program. So print say operation failed. Then quit. There's a function called quit. Then remember that I broke out of this loop here because I used else. If the user entered a valid bank name, I will break out of this while loop. Then when I break out of this while loop, I will need to enter another while loop where I will ask the user to input his account number. So to do this, first of all, I have to reset the number of attempts. How to reset it? So number of attempts is equal to 3. Attempts is equal to 0. Then enter a while loop. While number of attempts is greater than attempt. If this is greater than, then I will now have to ask the user. In this loop, I will need to ask the user for his or her account details. So I create a variable, name it account number. In this, I will now, using the input function, I will ask the user to enter his or her account number. Enter account number. So I create a variable digits. Remember I told you guys that the digit must be equal to 10. So to get this, it will now be length of account number. I taught these functions in my previous video, so you can check it out to know what the length function does. So the next thing to do is to decrement the number of attempts by 1. So number of attempts minus equal to 1. Then the if statement. Then if the bank name is so and so is, if bank name is equal to is in quotes is equal to is, then if it's equal to a, then if the because I told you guys that in the introductory part, I told you guys that for a bank, each bank will have 3 special digits preceding it. So if the bank is and if account number, let me indexing here, index 0 to 3. This is like index 0 to 2. Now in indexing, the last number is not counted. So it's from index 0 to 2. If I have the first three numbers preceding the account number. So if the first three number preceding the account numbers is equal to 200 and digit is equal to 10, then we have to print that the account number is valid. Get print valid account number. Then you have to quit the operation because the person imputed very correct account number. So else, had it been the person imputed an account number that doesn't start with 200 or the digit is greater or less than 10. So you allow else print. You have to tell the user to try again. Just and so number of attempts left. I'm going to format this. Say try. Wait, since there's an error here. Try again. You have attempts left. Then now I have this while loop. First of all, I will need to copy this for other banks. Now I have 3 banks. I gave 3 banks as an example. So let me copy this. I will need to copy this. Copy this. So I have to repeat it for the 3 banks I have. Then here I have to change it to from Apex from S to Apex. Then I want the account number for Apex starts with 201. Now I'll repeat the same thing for Boma Bank. Boma Bank, just change the name. Change this to Boma. The account number will start with 202. So after doing this, I'm still inside this while loop. So had it been that the person entered, because I had 3 attempts. So the 3 attempts the person made in entering the account number, the person made a mistake. I have to. That's where this else comes in. Get that in line. Wait, it must be better. Yes. Then else you have to print a failed operation. Else, or say transaction terminated. Let's say transaction terminated. Or let's find something else. Which one are we going to use? Let's say, say operation cannot be completed. Good. Operation not completed. Then you quit. So let's run this code. Let's run our code. Is there any error? No error. So let's call the function. Let's call our function. The name of our function is bank check. Bank check. So let's run the code. So it asks for bank name. So here, let me input the bank that's not in the list. Let me input anything. So try again, 2 attempts left. 1 attempt left. Let me make another mistake. Operation failed. Transactional operation process finished. So the program has terminated. So let me run the code. This time around, I'll put valid bank that is in the list. So let me run the code. Let me run it. So here, the bank name. Let me say the bank name. I'm going to enter Apex Bank this time around. Account number. I should space this because when I enter account number, it's going to, you can see, I didn't put a space here like this one. You can see how enter bank name is. So let me go and put a space where I said enter account number. I didn't put a space. Let's run this code. Let me terminate and rerun my code. So ask for my bank name. Apex, you can see it's now spaced. It asks for my account number 201. You can see valid account number. So now let's run it here. We'll input an account number that is not valid. Because we'll put something that is not valid. So let's close this. So let's enter a wrong account number. So ask for a bank. Let's say Burma Bank. Then ask for account number. Try again. I have 2 attempts left. Try again. I have 1 attempt left. This time around, let me get it. 202. Valid account. So now let's run this code again. So this time around, let's impute, because you have ACE Bank, ACE. So in such a way that the first letter will be in capital letter. So I have ACE. Try again, 2 attempts left. Why? Because what we have here in the list are all in lowercase. So if you impute anything that is not exactly like what I inputted in my list, it won't recognize it. So in order to avoid this error, what we have to do is there's this function called .lower. Use the function .lower function. .lower. If you convert your input to lowercase. So had it been that all the bank name I have in my list, had it been that are all in capital letter, what I would have done is just to use .upper. .upper will convert my input to uppercase. So now let's run this code. It's asking for my bank name. Let me close this. Let me run it. Let me terminate and rerun. Let me run it. Ask for my bank name. You can see it recognized it despite the case. So enter a valid account number. No, I didn't. It's not up to 10. That's correct. So you can try this code out your own and look at the code and try it out, give it a try. You can include as many banks as you want. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos. Take care of yourself.